Welcome to Mission Evolution Radio Show with Gwilda Wiyaka, bringing together today's leading experts to uncover ever-deepening spiritual truths and the latest scientific developments in support of the evolution of humankind. For more information on Mission Evolution Radio with Gwilda Wiyaka, visit www.missionevolution.org. And now, here's the host of Mission Evolution, Miss Gwilda Wiyaka.
Everyone knows animals can't speak, right? What if they can indeed speak, but humans simply don't know how to listen? What would they have to say? Mission Evolution Radio Show is coming to you around the world on the X Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net. With us this hour to explore the fascinating field of animal communication is Penelope Smith. Penelope is founding pioneer of interspecies telepathic communication, having practiced professionally since the early 1970s and has been communicating with animals telepathically throughout her life. Her training and experience include her educational background with a bachelor's degree and master's degrees in social sciences, years of training, experience in human counseling, research into animal nutrition, anatomy, behavior, and care, plus the first-hand education from thousands of animals she's contacted. Penelope has been a teacher of interspecies telepathic communication since the 1970s. She's the author of 3 books, Animal Talk, When Animals Speak, and Animals in Spirit. Her website, animaltalk.net. Penelope, thank you so much for joining us on Mission Evolution.
Thank you, Gwilda. Nice to be here with you again.
It's wonderful, wonderful. I love this topic. So what was your first experience of communicating with animals?
Well, I've been aware of communicating my whole life, so there really is no memory of a first experience. I always did. So whatever memories I have, I always was communicating with animals, whether they're domesticated animals in our family or wild animals. I just considered them all my friends, and we all communicated. They understood me, I understood them, and that's how it went.
Did your family have quite a few pets?
Yeah, we had the usual array of dogs and cats, and we also had parakeets and goldfish and sometimes little turtles. So yeah, there were always animals around.
So how about the wild animals? Did you live someplace where you were close to nature and
I
had
I
contact
lived
there?
I lived in a city. I was born and raised in Chicago, and we had little parks. And I had a big yard with lots of trees. So we had the usual critters like birds and snakes and insects and squirrels and all those kind of small critters. And so I would just go to the park nearby and sit quietly where no one could see me and just call in the animals. I would just tell the birds, well, you don't have to be afraid of me. I'm not going to hurt you like some people do. I won't. I just want to be close to you. And so the birds would land around me, and then insects would come, and sometimes garter snakes and squirrels. And we'd have a communication with each other. They understood me. I understood them. They were curious about me because most people didn't stop and communicate.
So when you said you call them in, how do you do that? Is it a verbal thing or on?
Sometimes I spoke verbally, but it didn't matter if I did or didn't speak verbally. If I just thought it, then they would get the message, because the animals get your thoughts and your feelings, and they get your intentions. So they would just come around. I just sit quietly. And sometimes I'd talk, but mostly I just was very quiet so as not to scare them.
Right, right. So, do you find difference in communication with different species of animals? Do they have a different style?
No, there's no different style. As far as telepathic communication, it's how you receive. So I receive with all my senses. The telepathic senses, the internal senses, parallel the physical senses. So I receive what the animals are thinking, what they're tasting, what they're smelling, what they're seeing, all these different senses. Now, different animals have different experiences. Of course, they have different viewpoints of the world. They have different senses. They have different purposes for being here and things that they do. So they communicate about different things and in different ways. But the telepathic senses, it just depends what channels you're open to, what you receive. So I'm open to all the possible channels.
So Penelope, do you consider yourself empathic?
Yeah, well, empathy and telepathy kind of go together. If you're really doing telepathy well, you feel what the other feels. So telepathy is about feeling. It means feeling across a distance, distance, pathy, feeling. And empathy is feeling others' feelings, being able to get what they're feeling as if it's your own. And so the same thing goes with the animals. The people who are have empathy can also open up to telepathy easier because really telepathy is about feeling. So you're getting all the senses, the emotions, as well as the thoughts and all the other senses.
So when you're talking about thoughts, do those come through in human words for you?
Um, what they come across is it's hard to explain because it's like a concept, it's like a whole package, and I instantly translate into words. So some people get straight messages, and I do too, where you get straight messages where they're instantly translated into words, but I get the whole concept. So along with the words, the translation into words, I also get what the animal's feeling. I can sort of flesh it out, what they're feeling, what they're seeing, what they're hearing, what they're tasting. And yes, it can come across as words, but understand that comes across as words because humans instantly translate everything into words. That's what we do.
Okay, so we automatically translate them into words and into our language, regardless of the way it's coming through. Are we reading their intent because animals don't have words?
We're getting their thoughts. So they have, yes, intent. I call it a whole conceptual package. So when you ask an animal, what did you do yesterday? Say you're asking your dog, what did you do yesterday while I was gone? So you may get images, you may get what they smelled, what they heard, what they thought about, if they were lonely. You may get all these things as part of the transmission of information. And again, I really tell people when I'm training people, don't so much focus on the thought only, because if you do, you can easily mix it in with your own thoughts. And so I say, focus on the feelings, focus on the entire package of what the animal is sending you, and then you'll get the most true concept, the most true, complete communication that they're giving, and less mixed up with your own thinking about it or thinking about what they might communicate or thinking about if it's the same as what you're thinking. Thinking can get in the way.
It usually tends to, doesn't it? So what you're doing there is you're triangulating all of your senses, and if they agree on what the animal is thinking, feeling, saying, then you think that comes from the animal versus your imagination or your thoughts.
Yeah, well, it's different than your own thinking. It's different than your own feeling. You'll get things from animals when you're getting their feelings and their thoughts that are different than what you have gotten before. Even though some things will be similar, particularly your dogs and cats real well in your family, but there'll be different ways of looking at things. So many times you recognize it's true telepathic communication because it's surprising. So you go, wow, I never imagined that before. I never heard of that before. I never
I
felt
wouldn't
things like that before.
I wouldn't have put that together, and all of a sudden here it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Um, are you able to speak to them whether they're alive or if they've crossed?
Yes. It really does not matter whether they are in body or whether they're out of their bodies or they have gone to the spiritual realm, because telepathy transcends all barriers of space and time and dimension.
Okay, so say for instance, I have a friend that had a bird, and the name of the bird is Connor, who died suddenly. Would you be able to ask him what happened to him?
Yes, I would be able to. I would have to ask you a few more questions to make sure I'm zeroing in on that being and that being comes in. But
Okay,
yeah,
let's try it.
okay. So where is your friend located?
In Canada,
Okay, and you have her permission to do this.
yes, I do.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so Connor was what kind of a parrot?
Conure?
A conure. Okay,
Uh-huh.
and his name was Connor.
Connor. Mhm.
Connor. Okay, and when did he die?
Ooh, a couple months ago.
A couple months ago. Okay, so hold on. Let me see if I can just tune into him through you and your friend's connection with him. See if he comes in. Yeah. Okay. So he comes in and he gives me a little chuckle and he laughs and he says, well, I've been communicating with my friend, with his person, for a long time. And he's going beyond. It's interesting because he doesn't see a discontinuation. He comes in and he shows himself as a parrot and with bright green and also red and on his head. And then he says, well, there's no difference between then and now. I just left the form, I left the body behind, and he shows me leaving the body behind. But he says, really, I'm the same. I'm the same. And he identifies, and he gives me the identification with his body. And he says that I can also, in this realm, I can change into any form that I want to, but I'm using this form because that's what you recognize me as. So did you want to ask him any questions?
Yeah, just why did he have to leave his body? What happened? He was young.
Okay, hold on. He says, the constriction in my throat got tighter and tighter. And in my chest, there was pain. I decided that it was no longer good to be here. I was starting not to be able to breathe. He said he also was having difficulty eating, but prior to this. And he said that he realized once he left his form, which was more trauma. He says more traumatic to his person than it was to him.
To him. Well, we're going to have to interrupt this and hopefully pick up on the other side, but it's time
Okay.
for a station break.
Okay.
Penelope and I will return very shortly, so don't go
Okay. I'll
away.
stay in touch with him.
This is Mission Evolution, missionevolution.org.
One people, one nation. Searching through the night. The end has come, the night has fallen. I have reached the end of days. What's real is not, reason fails me.
Do animals talk? If so, why can't I hear them? With us this hour discussing animal communication is Penelope Smith, the author of Animal Talk When Animals Speak and Animals in Spirit. her website, animaltalk.net. And just before our break, Penelope was connecting with a friend of mine's pet parrot. And so we're going to continue with that discussion. Penelope, can you ask Connor what his favorite saying was?
He gives me a sort of a distance, and he says, "I don't speak. I don't speak." So hold on. Let me. He's talking about himself now. So hold on. Let me see if I can get him focused on his life, because when we took our break, he kind of went distant. So hold on. Let me see if he wants to connect again. He says, "Is it time for breakfast? Is it time for breakfast?" And he said, my favorite things were to talk about, to get the person to give me snacks, to give me treats. Is it time for breakfast? That's what he gives me.
Okay. Well, apparently his favorite was kiss, kiss, baby, kiss, kiss. So, is it different speaking with animals that have already crossed than it is to speaking with animals that are still in the fur or feather?
Um, it's different in the sense that you have all the physical senses and you have the body connection and experience. And in the spiritual realm, they have a whole different experience. And again, it was difficult for me after when we cut off to get back in touch with Connor, because he felt he was done. He was he had gone off. I tried to stay in touch with him, and he kind of just went off.
Probably had better things to do than
I
us,
was
right?
just going to say that he had other things to do, and he had done what he was meant to do. So
So, Penelope, let's face it, the Earth is kind of in crisis right now. Do the animals, particularly the wild ones, do they talk to you about that? Do they have any concerns? Have you picked up anything there?
yes, when you ask animals about what's going on, they're very aware of the changes, and they have concerns about their tribes, their families, their what's going on. It's not the same kind of thinking and worry that humans might have. It's more because they also have the bigger picture of how things are always changing and how bodies are always shifting around. And yet they have, when you ask them, they have connections with humans and a desire to help humans to live in harmony on the earth. So many times they'll tell you exactly what you need to do. Like if you talk to whales or if you talk to elephants or any other group of animals, they'll tell you what needs to be done. And I've got many messages from animals to harmonize the earth, to live in harmony on the earth, to harmonize our actions, so that while there is distress over individual instances of course, animals dying and whales losing their babies and things like this, they also get the bigger picture of that they are spiritual beings and that their bodies come and go, kind of fade out of the picture, and then they return if it is their mission to return into the physical realm. So you have both the bigger picture as a wisdom, and you also have the particular. When humans ask or when humans are distressed, they will give particular advice for that person or for the harmonizing a particular ecosystem, if that's what you are wanting to ask about.
So there are animals, as we know, that have gone extinct. Are you able to connect with them as well?
Yes, and what I've learned from animals who have gone extinct is there's no such thing as extinction, um, because all forms are able to be recreated and they live in the etheric realm, all past, present, and future forms. And when the conditions are right, they return. So you'll find stories and research of how animals disappeared, the last one died, or they didn't see them for 20 years, and then suddenly they're back again. Well, they come back in form. The form will reappear, and spirits will inhabit the form and live as that particular being, that particular animal, because it's the right conditions. So when I say that, people have said that before. People say, well, will the dinosaurs be back? Well, when I tune into the dinosaurs, they had their time. They had their particular conditions, and they had their time. And the spirits who inhabited those forms have gone on to other experiences. The physical universe is a place of a lot of different experiences for beings. And so they shift and change. So there's not this kind of distress when you communicate with animals who have gone beyond that humans have, because humans have a lot of thinking about things that isn't necessarily the bigger picture.
That may or
And
may not be
so,
accurate, right?
yeah. I mean,
Hmm.
it's just their particular worries and emotions and things that are coming in for them, fears. And then I know that I don't have any of those kind of issues, because I go, when it's sort of like the movie The Field of Dreams, they will come, build it and they will come. So when the environment is right, they will come, they will
They'll be back.
appear. And just like
So,
animals are leaving now, different species, because the conditions aren't right. So again, on a physical level, people can mourn and they can go, but I say more mourn for your own unconsciousness, that you didn't shift your behavior, so that, I mean, and it requires more than obviously one person to do this. I mean, shift your thinking to take care of the earth and to take care of all other creatures. And so that's part of our evolution, is to evolve more, to get the bigger picture. Humans, most humans don't get the bigger picture very easily, to our detriment. Whereas I've found that animals do get the bigger picture. When I
yeah, it's
talk to
amazing, isn't it? So
the
Penelope, how far can you reach? I mean, can you go interstellar? Can you reach animals on other planets?
Yes, you can reach beings anywhere. I mean, the universe, people regard it as sort of way out there and lots of space, but there isn't any space and time when you're talking about spirits. And when you're talking about other realms, you can contact anything, and physically, it doesn't matter whether you're in this country or that country or on a different planet. You can contact beings if they wish to be contacted, if they wish to communicate.
So
Sure.
it sounds to me, Penelope, like your work kind of dances with shamanism in a way. Are
Yeah,
you?
well, it's very aligned. And if you want to say, it's really much the same, because the connections you make are across all time and space, and they're across dimensions.
And they go
So
from, yeah, from
once
top.
people do the telepathic communication, they find that, oh wow, it's a lot bigger than they thought. It isn't just about finding out if your dog likes a certain kind of dog food. It's about our whole evolution as beings and our spiritual journey in this realm and in other realms. So yeah, I love shamanism.
So what does it take to be a really good animal communicator? What traits do you have to start out with, and what do you have to refine?
Well, it takes you being able to be present and open to listening. So many people in our culture are very distracted, and they get too involved in their own thinking and emotions. And so if you're too involved in your own thinking and emotions, and you can't put that aside and just be present to what is here, then you won't be able to get anybody else's communication clearly. And this goes for humans too. Many people don't understand other people because they don't listen. So with the telepathy, you need to be grounded. Your body needs to be connected to the earth, because you're communicating through your body. If you're in physical form, you're communicating through a body. And so you have that connection to the earth, and settling, centering, being present with yourself right here, being aware of who you are and what you're doing, and then that there's another being who wishes to communicate with you. And then the action starts, and then you need to learn to differentiate your own thoughts and feelings from another's, what it feels like, and you practice and you learn more and more. You experience what it feels like to get another's thoughts and feelings that are different than your own. And then you continue to advance with it.
Well, it sounds like one of the prerequisites is becoming more self-aware, more conscious, more present with
Definitely.
yourself. And,
Definitely.
a lot of us have all these patterns and damage and these tapes that go on in our head nonstop that we don't even recognize. Is that
Right.
part of the interference that it keeps you from communicating with them?
Yes, absolutely. A part of really getting good as an animal communicator is spiritual growth. So, really becoming aware of what you are doing, who you are, growing along with all the work that you're doing with animals. And really, the results you get depend on your own spiritual evolution. Because the more you're present, the more animals open to you, the more healing energy is available there. And so the miracles happen because you just have more of your own spiritual power. In other words, you're more there. You, the real being, is more there outside of the patterns and the emotions and the distractions of this world.
It's a real challenge. I mean, just even in day-to-day life to be able to be present, isn't it?
Yes, but these are practices that spiritual masters have been teaching and training people in for millennia, and including the indigenous training in shamanic work, how to be present, how to be aware, how to be like the animals, to take on your true animal nature as a spirit embodied means being present to what is here. And as I tell my students, I said, this isn't just something you get ready for and now you communicate and now you're distracted again. You need to learn how to carry this through in your life so you're always present. You can always communicate.
Well,
And this
Penelope, it's time for us to take another station break. Penelope and I will be right back to continue our discussion. So please stay right there. This is Mission Evolution, www.missionevolution.org.
One people, one nation, searching through the night. One people, one nation. I've been broken, shattered, cast to the wind. I am scattered upon the wind. I've been broken, shattered, cast to the wind. I am scattered upon the wind. I've been broken, shattered, cast to the wind. I am scattered.
Are the animals about to give up on us? This is Mission Evolution, missionevolution.org. We're continuing our discussion with Penelope Smith. Her website, animaltalk.net. Penelope, I would, when I kind of think of what an animal might be feeling right now, if indeed they can communicate like you're saying, aren't they getting a little frustrated with our inability to do so?
this is coming from your own thinking, because the thing that I learned from animals after communicating with many, many thousands of animals is tremendous compassion. They have not only compassion for each other and their own particular families and tribes, but they have compassion for humans and their ignorance. They realize that humans have a very difficult task, get constantly distracted, and often do not even know that they're a spiritual being. So when animals look at us, there's compassion. So while they may have to defend themselves from human actions, they also, when you communicate with them, and again, we're talking about people who can communicate, who do sincerely want to connect, they have a tremendous compassion for human ignorance. They understand that humans just don't know. It's a matter of education. They aren't educated in this. It's part of they realize that it seems to be their nature, human nature, to be ignorant of how to live on the earth. And so I don't generally get from animals a sense of anger or frustration, more as please, can you wake up? Can you please live in a different way? We want to help you. We are meant to be brothers and sisters on the earth living in harmony. Can we help you? Will you listen to us? So no, they don't then get all frustrated and spend a lot of time thinking about it like humans do. They just get on with their lives and realize that humans are who they are, and some are very aware and many are not.
Do animals vary like that as well? Some being more aware than others?
Yes, absolutely. So you get some animals that are just what I call master beings. They just have it all. They're very balanced in their lives, in their emotions, and they are here to teach and to serve. And then you get those animals, those spirits who are in animal form, who say, just leave me alone. I just want to be quiet. Just feed me my dog food and don't demand anything of me. So it's quite a different viewpoint than an animal who says, how can I help? How can I help you? How can I teach you?
I think everyone that has a pet, they watch how they behave and realize that some of their behaviors are trying to get information across.
Yeah.
Would you explain that to us a little bit, please?
Yeah. So obviously most humans don't telepathically communicate consciously. And so animals have to realize that people aren't getting their thoughts and feelings, or sometimes they do, but they don't even realize that they're getting them. So they have to act it out. So they'll, if they have to go outside to do their business, they'll go to the door and bang on the door or tug on your shirt or whatever they need to do to get you to realize they need to do their business. But then there also are protests where you've ignored the animal and you haven't been taking them out for their walks. And so they then deliberately show you that they need more exercise, and they may go inside the house. And really, it's like a solid communication to you. And so when people get it, they then can respond to it. But a lot of people misinterpret that. Animals don't generally, even your domesticated animals, don't act out of revenge. They're acting out of they want a connection. So all their things that they do are wanting to communicate, wanting to be with you. I mean, they didn't join up with you. They didn't pick your household and pick you if they didn't want to join up with you, if they don't have some sort of mission with you to evolve together, to help each other. So yeah, sometimes they have to do gross communications, and or they get ill, which can show you things about what's going on in their lives that you didn't notice.
Humans, when traumatized, tend to hold on to the trauma until something is done about it. Are animals the same way?
Well, you get the most trauma in domesticated animals who have been abused by people. And so you'll have animals that have suffered a lot of abuse and have been rescued, who require a lot of patience and work. And I find that it greatly helps if you can do counseling and healing with them to help them through the trauma. And they respond very favorably to that. But sometimes they require a lot to get out of the beatings or whatever it is that they suffered from people or neglect in order to live their fullest life. But yes, they domesticated animals tend to respond similarly to trauma that people do. So they also require interventions in order to help them. Your wild animals, they have learned to survive, and their tribal members help them if they are social animals. And so they learn a different way of being, and the ones that are hurt a lot tend not to be able to live out in the wild. So, but you don't get the kind of generally, you don't get the kind of abuse that you have in a human environment.
Well, let's face it, the human environment needs a little work, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
sure does. So you mentioned uh, doing therapy with the animals. Now, how do you do that exactly? I mean,
Well,
I can see you laying somebody down on the couch, and
well, they just relax, and when you're communicating with them. But generally, if an animal has had trauma and they are open to counseling or healing, then you just do it all telepathically. You ask similar questions to help to bring the trauma forward, to help release the feelings, to release the pent up energy that's in those images and lodged in the body, the pain that's lodged in the body. And animals respond very quickly and favorably, more quickly generally than humans do, because they don't have all the mental baggage in the way or resistance that humans have. So it's really quite straightforward. Of course, you can do hands-on healing or hands-off healing, and they respond very well to different forms of healing too. Again, with their consent, and you communicate all of this with telepathy, asking them and receiving their answers and being in tune with them. So it's very straightforward. It's just done mostly silently. The only time I really talk in a consultation with animals is to explain what's going on to the person, to tell them what happened, what their animal communicated, and what's going on, why they need certain kinds of help or certain kinds of steps that the person needs to take to change things in their life.
if you were, and I'm sure you do this quite a bit, talking to a person that really wants to be an animal communicator, what would you tell them the largest challenge is going to be on their path?
Getting out of themselves out of the way, again, their own stuff out of the way, not mixing in their own traumas and patterns. Those are the things that you constantly have to be vigilant for. And once you've attained a certain state of awareness where you're really aware what is your own stuff versus what's there coming from other beings, then it's a lot easier to continue on that path and not let those things get in the way, because you recognize them so well. But people who are not versed in recognizing their patterns have not had enough healing in whatever form that they need, may unconsciously impose a lot of ideas and their own patterns onto the communications, and both the
So,
communication with the animals and the people. So
so they're
that's
basically projecting their issues onto what the animal might be saying.
exactly.
hmm
Yes.
So you mentioned, I think you did, that animals heal people. Would you go into that a little bit for us?
Yeah, they're incredible healers. First of all, again, most animals are very conscious that they have come to help you. They recognize their people. People will say, well, I never knew cats before, and this cat just came up to me, and I just knew I had to be with this cat. I had to adopt this cat off the street or wherever. And the animal is communicating with you, and they're there to help you on your journey, to enlighten you, to help you to wake up more to who you are. And it's a very conscious journey with the animals. And they'll let you know when you're communicating with them, they'll let you know what it is they're doing. And the love that emanates from animals is so pure and fun and full of joy that you can't help but drop some of your own fears and resistance to love and open up more to the love that you are by being with them. I mean, many, many people will tell you how the animals really rescued them.
Yeah, they rescue in more than one way, don't they?
Yeah.
Um, so the when the animal is working with healing you, just their presence, do they also consciously do things to heal?
Yes. Yes. And again, this would be the more advanced or aware animals who will ask you, could you please be quiet right now? I want to work with you. I mean, they'll even put their paws on you, I mean, they know exactly what they're doing, or they'll tell you, I need to communicate with something to you. I want you to listen. And so they're very aware of that. But their daily presence is what really, and their actions are really what are the most healing. Just being with that animal, their spontaneousness, their simple things like getting you outside more, to take them for walks, or to appreciate the birds and the butterflies. That is healing in itself.
Well, it's time for yet another station break. Please stay with us as Penelope and I continue to explore silent communications from the animal world. This is Mission Evolution, www.missionevolution.org.
One people, one nation, searching through the night. One people, one nation, searching for the light. One people, one nation, coming from the stars. Brilliant feathers of an unearthly hue glide by on the edge of his dream. A whisper of touch, an unheard song. Whose bird takes flight, prompted by his broken heart.
What do animals have to teach us? This is Mission Evolution, missionevolution.org. We're continuing our discussion with Penelope Smith. Her website is animaltalk.net. Penelope, animals in the wild have been used for omenology by indigenous peoples for years. If you see a raven sitting on a branch in the north, it has some kind of meaning.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of validation of this sort of thing, but is that raven sitting on the branch in the north trying to tell you something, or is it just the way life works to tell us something?
Well, I think it's both. It isn't an either or. When you connect with other beings and with indigenous people who go, everything is a sign. When an animal passes by, there is a communication for you. There's something for you, and so then people start to see similar things happening, and they go, it means this. It's a sign of this. And I would always say that there's both the symbology that we give to it, what it means in general, but there's also a particular connection that we're having with that particular animal. So when the raven is going by, they feel the connection with you, particularly if you're aware of them. They feel the connection with you. And so there can be an individual communication coming from them. And it can also be that they're transmitting the powers or the traits of their species to you. So that would be the more general thing of what it means to have a raven or an owl or whoever, a bobcat, come by to you. And I always say, take it in the moment. Tune in, take it in the moment. Don't just read what other people have said these are symbols of, or what you've read in a book. Take it in the moment and listen to what that being is communicating to you, or what impact it has on your life in that moment. And if you look at everything that way, you'll see everything is alive, everything communicates. The whole universe is communicating to you all the time, guiding your life and helping you to feel in oneness, in connection with everything.
Wouldn't the world be a very different place if humans would get that?
Oh my goodness. I mean, how beautiful. I think of that often, Gwilda, and I see it, as the people who are waking up to that more and more. You see a whole different way of walking on the earth. Just the solutions that would arise out of that way of walking, out of connecting with all the animals, out of listening to what they say and connecting with the mountains and the rivers and all the other beings of the earth, we would be living in a whole different way. It wouldn't be this competitive power drive of accumulating and sucking out resources in every possible way. We would be living in a different way on the earth. Wow, just so different and quieter and more connected. And people would definitely be happier. There wouldn't be so much mental and physical disease.
Yeah, it seems like we've gotten too far from nature. One of the things that I've heard and often been curious about is that each tribe, if you will, or species of animal is responsible for holding a particular frequency presence on the planet.
Yeah.
Have you worked with that at all? And would you explain it to
Yes.
a list?
Yes, and it aligns with their purpose for being here. Each group has their particular function in the whole web of life. So you can look at it as a physical level, and there's the spiritual level of how all the energies intermingle and how everybody supports different aspects of life. I had this very interesting experience just yesterday. This tiny little insect and it's a kind of an insect that comes in the summertime and when the moisture level starts to come after a rain, and they're only about a half an inch and they're very delicate. And he landed on a book I was reading, and so I just got in touch with this insect, and I got through her perception how dense and gross my body was to them. And I went, whoa, I suddenly felt so heavy as a body form. And I felt the lightness of this insect. And then this incredible expansion, it was like a psychedelic journey, happened where I saw the insect's viewpoint of the whole lattice of energy that our planet and surrounding our planet is connected to. And this insect was completely aware of that and holding that with all the other insects, and not just of his kind, but as a general awareness of sensitivity to this fine lattice work of energy that holds everything together. And I went, wow, this was just amazing. And I've had other perceptions like that at different times, but this was something even bigger. And it really answers your question. These beings are holding a lattice work. So some people say, oh, we'd be better without the insects. They just bother you, they just bite you, or they land on you and they're annoying, or they swarm, or this or that. Again, very human, sort of lower level or narrow thinking. And then you tune into what everybody is doing. and what their purpose is, what their frequency, that as you said it, what they're holding. And you go, whoa, this is phenomenal. The delicacy of the work that these insects, this particular one tuned me into, what they're all doing, the delicacy of the work, no matter how many of their bodies die, others keep coming in order to hold this whole lattice work. And I went, wow, this is so beyond what humans think of insects.
So, a lot of people are really fascinated by our ocean mammals, like the
Yes.
whales and the dolphins. What have you intuited into them to see what are they holding? Because it seems pretty
Wow,
profound.
they're just so phenomenal. I mean, I call the whales, and I have swum with the whales and sponsored many, many journeys with dolphins and whales, and been in the water with them many times. And they have given me many transmissions. And the whales are, I call them our evolutionary leaders, and the dolphins are connected to that too. And also, they're like the messengers of the whales. They like downstep and translate and connect the message to more beings. And the whales just hold they really hold not just the history of this planet, but the history of the whole universe in the ocean, in their cells. They have an awareness that is so phenomenal, and a benevolence. I mean, I go completely ecstatic just thinking about the whales, because their benevolence, their capacity for love, not just as spiritual beings, but in their whole being, and how they spread it out through the ocean, through the air, through the land, through their sound, through everything that they do. They're just so love incarnate. I just go, wow. If you want some of the greatest teachers, go to the whales. They're just, and dolphins, they're just phenomenal.
That being the case, what's your take on these mass beachings of whales that we've been experiencing lately?
It's very, I mean, I tune into a lot of them. And so there's very different causes. Some of them are straightforward pollution. They're just accumulated enough a toxicity in their bodies that they're all going, and they go together, because they are a tribe. They land together. Some of it is, there's also interference with their ability to echolocate, to perceive where they are, due to sound, due to ocean pollution of sound and explosions that damage their own ability to find where they are on the planet. So it'll damage their sensors enough that they think they're going one way and they're going another. So I've seen some of them where I've tuned into them, and they've showed me how through these explosions and sounds, they've been damaged. And also the composition of the ocean being changed by all the pollution damages their senses. So some of that is due to that. And other times there are strandings and beaching because they're calling out to people, wake up, wake up, wake up. And many people do wake up from these beachings, or individual whales will go up a river. That happens throughout the last number of decades. Well, they'll go up a river, and everybody will try to save them. Well, they don't need saving. People need to wake up. And then when they're done with their mission, they feel like enough people have woken up, enough of the media has gotten the message out, then they turn around and they go back. I mean, they're just so conscious. And so their group will send an emissary to see how many people they can wake up. And then they continually send sounds through the ocean that permeate the land, permeate the air, that are for our evolution. They're
Yeah.
just phenomenal.
There's
Whales.
nothing like
phenomenal.
whale song. Just listening to it gives me
Oh my
goosebumps.
gosh. Yeah.
We're just about out of time, and I would be remiss, Penelope, if I did not ask you, what's your mission?
To wake everybody up, as many people as I can. I've always been aware that humans need the most help. I'm here to help humans. And of course, I love all the animals, and the animals are all here on a mission to help also. So we're all in it together. And really, the more people that wake up to who they are, that open to the consciousness that we're all the same being, that we're all one, that we're all in this together, and we're in the physical, we're all in this together to help each other, to have the best experience, well, the better we are, the better we are. So that's what I'm here for.
Well, bless you for doing that because we certainly need to understand what the animals are saying at this point in life.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
they have some pretty interesting messages, don't they?
Yes.
Well, Penelope, unfortunately, we are out of time. Thank you once again for coming on Mission Evolution.
Thank you, Gwilda. It's a joy to connect with you.
Our guest this hour has been animal communicator Penelope Smith. Penelope is the author of Animal Talk, When Animals Speak, and Animals in Spirit. To find out more about Penelope, where you can find her books and all she has to offer, visit her website, animaltalk.net. This has been Mission Evolution with Gwilda Wiyaka. For more information or to enjoy past archived episodes, visit our website, www.missionevolution.org. But please be sure to join us again right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net, where this mission will continue, bringing information, resources, and support to our evolving world.